First tonight at 6, searching for answers after more than a dozen headstones are damaged at a historic Madison cemetery.
Plus, Marcus Theaters decides not to show the controversial Slender Man movie at two popular theaters in the area.
And less than a week now until the Wisconsin primaries. Hear from the U.S. Senate candidates hoping to take on Senator Tammy Baldwin in November.
This is News 3 at 6.
Thanks for joining us at 6. Eric has the week off. A cemetery with deep roots in Madison's history is picking up the pieces tonight after multiple headstones were vandalized.
Police do not have any leads, but they hope that whoever is responsible understands the impact they've made on the city's history. Amanda Quintana is with us in the studio with more on the investigation. Amanda?
Yes, a total of 36 headstones were tipped over last night. About a dozen of those are cracked or shattered, most of them from the 1800s. The historic Forest Hill Cemetery was purchased by the city in 1857. After the Civil War, commemorating fallen soldiers at Forest Hill became an important local ritual. Police say it seems like the vandals damaged random headstones. The Jewish area and the Confederate soldiers' resting spots were all left alone.
We don't think that we have something resembling a hate crime or anything like that, but we think we do have some people who got in there and perhaps didn't realize the value of that cemetery or of any cemetery and how sacred it is to the families whose loved ones are there. And in this case, again, just the sense of city history that is at Forest Hill.
The City Parks Department is working with MPD on the investigation and looking to contact the family members connected to those damaged grave sites. But the Parks Department told us they should be able to pay for all of the headstones to be fixed, so families will not be held responsible for their ancestors' headstones. There are no surveillance cameras in the cemetery, so there aren't any leads as to who could have done this. But if you saw anything last night, you're asked to contact Madison Police.
Amanda Quintana in the studio tonight. Thanks, Amanda.
Madison police are also investigating a daytime shooting on the west side. Witnesses tell police they saw two passengers holding handguns outside of a car's window and firing into the air just before noon on Cross Street. Shell casings have been recovered and there are no reports of property damage or injuries. Blue-green algae has been found in Lake Koshkonong in Rock County. The county health department says anyone considering recreation on or in the water should use caution and common sense. They say conditions are right for blue-green algae, but say right now it is hard to determine exact levels of toxin concentrations.
The controversial Slender Man movie, which is set to hit theaters this week, will not be shown in two of the most popular theaters in Madison. A representative from Marcus Theaters says the movie will not be shown at Marcus Point in Madison or Marcus Palace in Sun Prairie. The film, which is also not being shown in Milwaukee and Waukesha counties. Marcus released a statement today saying, in part, Marcus Theaters was deeply concerned and saddened when the Slender Man phenomenon touched southeastern Wisconsin in such a profound way, changing the lives of many families forever. After careful consideration and out of respect for those who were impacted, we have decided not to play the upcoming Slender Man movie.
We're learning about new allegations tonight against the DeForest police chief. They come as part of a complaint filed today with the Village of DeForest Police Commission. The complaint includes new information from an internal investigation into the department beyond allegations of racist actions by the chief. It lists 4 counts, including failure to address employee misconduct, inappropriate public communications, conduct detrimental to public confidence in the police department, and improperly disclosing confidential information. Chief Furseth has been on paid administrative leave since May after a controversial YouTube video surfaced of him mocking a group of black men.
Let's get a check on the weather now. Gary Canolti is in the Weather Center. Gary?
Well, we have sunshine today, and that warmed our temperatures right back into the 80s. And assuming that we have sunshine for the next few days, I think our temperatures are going to be just as warm. Let's start out by taking a look at visible cloud track. Early morning fog and low clouds dissipated, and we had bright sunshine for much of the afternoon. There are a few thunderstorms up near Lake Superior, but nothing close to southern Wisconsin. Looks like we will stay dry for tonight and for much of the day tomorrow. Low temperatures this morning started out right around 60 degrees when the fog formed. Temperatures were in the middle 50s north of Madison and the middle 60s south of Madison. Current temperatures are between about 80 70 and 85 across much of southern Wisconsin. A little cooler to the east, temperatures in the upper 70s there. But dew point temperatures remain in the 60s to around 70 degrees, so it is pretty humid. By tomorrow morning, look for temperatures to drop into the middle 60s with some patchy fog overnight, probably not as widespread as what we saw this morning. Then tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny skies. Chance for a shower or thunderstorm late in the day, mainly south of Madison. High temperature at 85. That's your first alert forecast.
Gary, thank you. We are less than 1 week away from the Democratic primary for Governor Scott Walker's challenger.
Tonight, the candidates are meeting for a forum. Our Amy Reed is there live to tell us what we're expecting. Amy?
This is down at the Madison Central Library. The forum isn't scheduled to start for about another hour, but there is a candidate meet and greet in about a half hour coming up at 6:30. Now, you'll remember there's 8 candidates. It's a very full ballot in this race. 7 of them are here tonight. We heard from Malin Mitchell's campaign earlier today. He's stuck in Seattle. He was at a firefighters union meeting and his flight got delayed, so he won't be making it back in time. Something that we are expecting to maybe hear from them tonight is a response, an in-person response to an attack that Scott Walker had on them yesterday. He said that they had dangerous plans for reducing the prison population by letting out violent criminals into the street, but they responded on Twitter and in statements to News 3 that these are low-level drug offenders, mostly marijuana offenses, and so we might be hearing their in-person responses tonight. Now, if you can't make it down here, this will be streamed on Facebook, and we'll have coverage tonight at News 3 at 10.
Amy Reed reporting live downtown. Amy, thanks.
Mayor Paul Soglin is in the running for governor, and today he held a press conference with Police Chief Mike Koval. They say fewer people are being arrested in Madison, and it's part of a larger effort to keep jail populations down. According to data from the city, in 2011, nearly 14,000 arrests were made in the city compared to just above 8,000 last year.
Cities have the opportunity, although we don't control the jails, we have the opportunity to divert our young adults at the front line as officers are responding.
Although fewer people are being arrested, the numbers show violent arrests have not changed. News 3 is asking the candidates running for the U.S. Senate primary where they stand on issues that matter to you.
The 2 Republican candidates on the ballot are Kevin Nicholson from Delafield and Leah Vukmir from Brookfield. News 3's Rose Schmidt sat down with both of them and tells us about some policy issues where their views differ a little bit. Rose?
That's right. Vukmir and Nicholson are both strict conservatives, advocating for many of the same things. They both say they want a wall to be built on the southern border to eliminate illegal immigration. And they're backing President Trump's tariffs and trade policies. But on a few other issues, there's some definite differences. On most issues, Leah Vukmir and Kevin Nicholson are on the same page. But when it comes to the legalization of marijuana, there are nuances between the 2 Republican candidates.
I do not support recreational marijuana. I have opposed it in the past.
I've said repeatedly not for recreational use.
As for medicinal marijuana, that has these 2 Republicans divided.
For medical marijuana, in other words, prescribed by a doctor, yeah, I am okay with that. And here's why. I've talked to a lot of cancer patients, and I know it helps with pain and restlessness.
As a nurse, I have a real hard time with knowing the fact that it is a Schedule I drug, which means it has very little medical use and indications.
They differ on whether medical marijuana could help or hurt the state's opioid epidemic.
I've heard from law enforcement as well, and we already have problems with heroin, opioid, meth in this state, and law enforcement says, why would we want to bring in another drug that is going to cause problems?
Medical marijuana, as prescribed by a doctor, certainly to cancer patients that need it to ease their pain and restlessness, I don't see as anywhere near as big a threat as what we're seeing for opioids currently.
The candidates also have some differences when it comes to criminal justice issues. Vukmir has worked in the state Senate to harden sentencing requirements for criminals.
I am a strong proponent in making sure that repeat offenders do not go back out and terrorize the communities.
But Nicholson says he wants to give nonviolent offenders a chance.
The goal was not simply to lock everybody up. The goal, again, is to get violent offenders certainly off the streets, but nonviolent offenders to find ways to rehabilitate and give them an opportunity to go be successful.
Now, the main thing that these 2 Republican candidates have in common is that they want to beat Democratic U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin in November. She co-sponsored a bill that would allow states to enact medical marijuana laws without federal interference, and she also voted yes to paying for alternative sentencing instead of more prisons and expanding services for offenders' re-entry into society.
Rose Schmidt in the newsroom. Rose, thank you.
Excuse me. To take over?
Sorry.
It happens.
Still ahead tonight at 6. A new park is set to open tomorrow in Madison.
And why local landlords may get hit with a new bill as we near move-out day downtown. You are watching News 3 at 6. Welcome back. A new park on Madison's west side will officially open tomorrow. It's called Thousand Oaks Park in the 1000 Oaks neighborhood. The park is 15 acres and includes an open field, a 20 by 32-foot shelter that can be reserved, walking paths, a council ring seating area, and a play area. The official opening of the park is 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and the event is open to the public.
Ahead of move-out day, which is coming up, landlords are asking tenants to properly dispose of items so that as renters move away, they're not stuck holding a bill. Our Keely Arthur shares what you need to know.
Moving in or out in Madison, landlords like Tom Ripple know it's best to expect the unexpected.
You're going to have people that leave the place as nice as it was when they moved in, and then you're going to have people that are a little bit rough on it, and that's understatement. So 40
years in, Ripple of Ripple Property Management has some horror stories that he'd rather not broadcast.
You don't want to know that. You don't want to know that.
What he will say is that one of the biggest headaches comes from people improperly disposing of items.
A lot of people take the shortcut and just dump stuff at the curb.
That means Ripple ends up having to pay a fee or risks getting a city fine.
There's a lot of electronic stuff that's actually banned from the landfills. Things like televisions, computers. There's stuff that you just can't throw away that you should recycle by law.
Even items that you might consider small, like a microwave, require a fee to be picked up.
And the list goes on. According to the City of Madison's website, appliances like refrigerators, stoves, even grills can be put on the curb with a fee sticker costing $15 to $35. But televisions and computers must be brought to the drop-off site directly.
And that's not just a student move thing, too. That's at any time of the year thing. You want to bring those into us.
Like every year before, Ripple doesn't expect his curbs to be TV-free.
Some people, as in all aspects of human behavior, they'll take the shortcut.
But he's hopeful this is the most headache-free move-out day to date.
A lot of people will do the right thing.
In Madison, Keely Arthur, WISC News 3.
Madison has drop-off sites on the east and west side, and they are both open 7 days a week. There's more to come tonight on News 3 at 6.
When we return, a preview of tomorrow's first preseason game for the green and gold. That's ahead in sports.
And in weather, look for another warm day tomorrow with high temperatures in the middle 80s. There's a chance of a shower or thunderstorm, mainly south of Madison in the afternoon. Of our first alert forecast in just a few minutes.
The sun's out, and that's warming things up again this afternoon.
Yeah, temperatures back in the 80s, and I hope you're used to it because it's going to stay that way for about another week and a half. Let's start out by taking a look at visible cloud track. We had some low clouds early this morning along with the fog, and then that just kind of lifted, and we had bright sunshine for much of the day. Now up to the north, you can see some showers and thunderstorms developing by Lake Superior, but these will stay well to the north of us. Right now, I think southern Wisconsin will be free of precipitation for about the next 20 hours or so before shower and thunderstorm chances develop later tomorrow afternoon. The high temperature trend over the next week, you can see those temperatures basically in the lower to middle 80s, and the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. This is from August 26th through the 22nd. Guess what? More above normal temperatures, the highest probabilities right in the northern portion of the United States, whereas below normal precipitation expected out to our west and above normal precipitation to our south and to our east. Live view from the Platteville Queen Bee Radio Skycam, plenty of sunshine there. As we check out the live view from the WISC Skycam, you can see bright sunshine across the west side of Madison, and the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison showing the Capitol lit up with plenty of sunshine and just a little bit of hazy cloud cover overhead. As we look at the almanac for today, high temperature 81, low temperature at 60, almost right exactly. We're at the normal high of 80 and the normal low of 60, and we're at 80 degrees right now. The air is calm. The dew point temperature is still in the lower 60s, so it's a little humid out there. So if you're out and about and taking some good pictures of the weather, well, now's the time to send them in for our 2019 Wisconsin weather calendar. Send them to weathercalendar@wisctv.com. We'll pick the best photos and put them in the weather calendar that'll be coming out later on this year. Current temperatures are pretty warm, generally in the 80s away from Lake Michigan. Milwaukee at 78 degrees, but even Superior is at 86 degrees, and temperatures are even warmer farther out to the west. Winds generally out of the southwest. They're pretty light, but notice to the north, those winds start to shift to a more northerly direction. There's actually a weak cold front up in northern Minnesota, and that's what's touching off these thunderstorms here. Now, the upper level winds actually coming out of the north right now, but to our south, those winds moving in a west to east direction. So when air masses come together, the air sinks and dries out. That's what we're seeing right here. But eventually, as that cold front starts to travel in and the jet stream drops a little farther to the south, that could give us a chance of a shower or thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon, with the best chances probably being south of Madison by the time those storms form. A little bubble of high pressure just out to the west of us, keeping temperatures warm. You can see lots of 80s and 90s from much of the Midwest. Even north of that cold front, temperatures drop into lower 80s in International Falls, Minnesota. The air does dry out just north of the U.S.-Canadian border. Elsewhere, dew point temperatures are in the 60s to around 70 degrees, so the air is still fairly humid. Tonight, look for partly cloudy skies. It'll be mild, maybe some patchy fog overnight, probably not as widespread as last night with a low of 64. Tomorrow, partly sunny, very warm and humid. Could see a shower or thunderstorm, mainly south of Madison late in the afternoon with a high temperature of 85. As we look at future track, look for quiet conditions tonight. Temperatures dropping into the middle 60s. Tomorrow will be partly sunny. By late afternoon, as that cold front starts to drop southward, it's possible we could see a shower or thunderstorm pop up, mainly south of Madison ahead of the front. Then those storms move into northern Illinois tomorrow night. And then on Friday, with a northeasterly wind flow, there might be still enough moisture to pop up a shower or thunderstorm, high temperatures in the lower 80s. As we check out the 7 to 10 day forecast, those temperatures remain in the middle 80s through much of next week. Some thunderstorm chances about Tuesday and Wednesday as humidity levels creep back up. Then temperatures might turn a little cooler for the following weekend.
So what does Paul Chryst think about the Badgers' offensive line being on the cover of Sports Illustrated? We'll hear from the head coach in sports.
Hi, I'm Michelle Carolla. Tonight on the news at 9, we're speaking with local firefighters overcoming the mental stresses of the job. A task force that's been developed that's only on Fox at 9.
Tomorrow night, the Packers open the preseason with a game against the Tennessee Titans at Lambeau Field at 7 o'clock. Now, a lot of you go, I'm not going to waste my time watching a preseason game where Aaron Rodgers is going to be wearing a cap and watching from the sidelines, and I get it. But there is purpose for these preseason games as General Manager Brian Gutekunst and head coach Mike McCarthy try to figure out how to find the best 53 men for the final roster from the 90 that are in camp right now. Gutekunst said anyone can look good in practice during the week, but when it comes down to it, it's game day, even preseason game day, that makes the difference.
Obviously, in some of those, in a lot of drills, everybody knows what's going on, so there's not a lot of thinking involved, not a lot of reacting involved. And that's good. It's good to see the kind of traits guys have, and it's a competitive environment, which is really good to see. But 11-on-11 football is where you have to react and let your physical gifts, show through those reactions and instincts and knowing what you're supposed to do. So, we're trying to find the best team, and 11-on-11 football is where we're going to evaluate that for the most part.
The Wisconsin Badgers volleyball team is ranked 9th in the nation in the volleyball coaches preseason poll out today. Stanford is ranked number 1 with defending NCAA champion Nebraska number 2. There are 7 Big Ten teams ranked in the top 25. By the way, Wisconsin's home opener is September 1st against Texas, which is ranked number 3 in the nation. Some pretty significant changes approved for NCAA men's basketball. Eligible underclassmen will now be allowed to enter the NBA draft and return to school if they aren't drafted. They're also going to allow elite high school recruits and college players to be represented by agents certified by the NCAA if the NBA and its Players Association approve those changes too. The Brewers are getting ready for another game tonight against the San Diego Padres in Miller Park. Last night wasn't a clinic by any means. The Padres won 11-5. Tonight's action starting it. The Cubs lead the Brewers by 2.5 games atop the National League Central. The Brewers still have the number 1 wild card, a game ahead of the Braves and the Diamondbacks. We're a little over a week away from the start of the high school football season. That means the Prep Mania Game of the Week returns a week from Friday. Sun Prairie at Madison Memorial is our first live telecast on TVW and Channel3000.com. Bill Brophy, Alan Minute, and I will have the call of the game a week from Friday, August 17th. The Badger football team gets a bit of a break from fall camp today. No practice schedule. The countdown to the regular season opener now just 23 days away. It's Friday, August 31st against Western Kentucky at Camp Randall. Now, you probably saw the regional cover of the Sports Illustrated featuring the Badgers' offensive line, another part of the high expectations of the upcoming season. Now, after practice last night, our Kevin Lewis asked head coach Paul Christ about the SI cover story.
Did you see the offensive line, the cover, Sports Illustrated cover? David was pretty impressed, and he said, offensive linemen aren't usually on the cover of magazines. Does that speak to, the work they put in to get to where they're getting some?
Yeah, I mean, that, and I'll back it up.
Kevin asked the question like, I know what's coming, but, they don't want distractions. So
a man of few words.
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh, wow. Gary's here with a final check.
Temperatures are still pretty warm. They're right around the 80-degree mark here in Madison, but you can see a few places warmer than that. La Crosse still at 86, but the dew point temperatures remain in the lower to middle 60s. A few places out toward the Mississippi River closer to the 70-degree mark. So it is fairly humid. It feels more like temperatures are in the lower to upper 80s, especially out toward the Mississippi River. 7-day forecast, temperatures remain low to mid 80s right through the weekend and into much of next week. Thunderstorm chance tomorrow afternoon, mainly south of Madison. A slight chance Friday. Weekend should be dry, and then some thunderstorm chances when the humidity comes back up next week.
All right, thank you, Gary. Thank you for joining us. Have a great evening, and we'll see you back here at 10 o'clock.
Download the new Channel 3000 app and get alerted on your mobile device the minute news breaks. Wherever you go, be the first to know with Channel 3000.